Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. I had something just get at my throat
Just
right as I was saying that.
Oh,
it was
dear.
like a little bead of water or something.
Oh, wasn't
and
it
it went
bug?
in the wrong pipe. It was like,
That's
I'm not
the
going
worst
to
when
go.
you inhale and accidentally breathe in a bug. Ever happened to you?
That's the worst. That's horrible. That's horrifying. Anyways, so the people want to know. I know we already discussed this in the pre-show, but that's non-canon. You had your second shot on Friday,
Went
and
great. No issues.
no issues.
Other than a sore arm. And like I said, I think Saturday morning when I woke up, I had a headache, but I think because I had to sleep on my right side pretty much exclusively that night. So my neck was a little stiff. But otherwise, once I got up and it loosened up a bit, felt fine. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. I'm getting mine.
Tomorrow morning.
I'm getting mine
hopefully your
tomorrow
shot
morning.
will
So
go just as well.
if there are any complications, like I imagine it'll be Tuesday night, maybe I'll be a little worse for wear during the NXT review on Wednesday, or maybe the intern will help you out with NXT. I don't know. Maybe you can just skip NXT for the week. Probably no. There's actually some good matches coming up on NXT.
Yeah, we
this
can't
week.
skip NXT. I know it doesn't perform as well as some of their shows, but it's kind of got to cover NXT.
How did it do last week? Anyways, how was your weekend besides that? You went to out of
It's
town.
Mother's
right?
Day weekend. So
How was your Mother's Day?
We went to the in-laws for a bit. Saw my mom a bit yesterday too. So it was all in all pretty good. How was yours?
Man, we got some donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Went to my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And she had, not only did I bring donuts for everybody, but she had made a bunch of breakfast burritos. So
wow.
It was an awesome morning.
It was more a holiday for Steve.
Yeah, really, seriously. It was like Steve Day, because I was like, holy crap, I get some old-fashioned
and
chocolate,
breakfast
some
burritos?
coffee, and some breakfast burritos. That's amazing. So, it was a good weekend. I rested up. I watched a ton of Invincible, the cartoon on Amazon. Yeah. I finished that. Me and Jeff did a review on it for the Friendoville podcast over at the Friendoville channel. So if anybody out there wants to check out my thoughts on Invincible, you can do that there. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the news.
The news.
You know, man, I know after Blood and Guts, the reviews were a bit on the mixed side. You know, you and I liked it quite a bit. It wasn't perfect. But I thought it was a pretty solid show, pretty fun match.
I think they had a story to tell, and they told that story pretty effectively. And it was brutal, and it felt like a real fight. You know, it was different than some of the other stuff we've seen in other companies. So, anyways, and it was a huge ratings win for AEW, number one in the all important 18-49 demo. But apparently, there were some within the WWE who thought it was absolute trash.
What?
PW Insider's Dave Scherer is reporting that, quote, I have heard from people in management, WWE, and they hated it.
Ooh.
One person told me, and I quote, that just set the business back 30 years. Dave continues, I don't know, but I was told people in charge weren't happy. Again, at WWE. On the other hand, I talked to the wrestlers that loved it because they would love to do something like that themselves. That was Dave Scherer, the PW Insider. In some respects, this kind of encapsulates some of the issues with WWE. It's like, they don't go to that level of violence. I know the War Games matches are violent, but no blood. You can't do the blood. You can't do the blood in WWE. And sometimes blood in the right circumstances can really enhance the story. And
well, let me ask you.
What?
Do you think when they say that just set the business back 30 years, do you think that's because of the blood, or do you think it was because of the finale, the Jericho fall? What do you think? The level of violence? What do you think it was?
I think because the match was mauled after, not so much after. So, like the modern WWE War Games match, it's fun, and I'm not going to sit here and criticize it because I've enjoyed every single one. But it's not based on simulating a genuine, real fight as, say, last Battle of Atlanta was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's still a bevy of wrestling moves. They got some high spots, people doing crazy stuff off the top of the cage. Whereas I felt like Blood and Guts was trying to emulate something like last Battle of Atlanta. Sure. And so I guess when I see that quote, I think, they want to take wrestling back to where it was in might be 1991, but I kind of feel like further than that, where it's that type of match where it's, in this case, 10 people, but last Battle Atlanta, 2 people going into a ring, and it feels like a real fight. It's very much old school pro wrestling, not sports entertainment. And if those in WWE who are critical of the match probably sees them as WB as like the Kleenex, the brand name pro wrestling, they are the ones that set the bar. In any company that kind of like does something that they don't agree with, or like, well, they're setting the business back X number of years. That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I honestly have no, that's, I don't know what they could possibly mean. That just set the business back 30 years. What is
Maybe
it?
it's the perception of people who view wrestling. I don't know if WWE feels like, since their approach to pro wrestling as sports entertainment has in some way lessened the stigma of pro wrestling, and that AEW does something like this. And
that's a good, that right there is, I think, probably your strongest take on it, is that they're doing a sports entertainment thing. And it's funny because Zondo here says, this is sort of my take too. He says every NXT War Games match has been much more violent than AEW's minus blood. But I agree with you. Like, War Games has had so many spots where I was like, oh my God, that had to suck. That being said, I totally agree with you that Blood and Guts that's a great analogy, or that's a great, comparison, is Last Battle of Atlanta, which is just a very sloppy, physical, bloody fight.
And when I say level of violence, I guess I should mean a level of believable violence, if you will. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't seem like people doing wrestling moves. It's people in the ring, in the structure fighting. That's what I meant to say. Not so much
WWE. I get what you're saying in that. I wonder if WWE, the people in management there, there are probably people within WWE management who believe WWE is the end all be all. We know that. Yeah. I honestly don't know if Vince believes that, but I think there are people in there who have sort of probably taken to believing that they are the end all be all. And they probably think we have evolved the business for this amount of time, and this match had a feel of it that was very old school. And because they are AEW capturing a certain zeitgeist right now, they're trying to undo the progress that WWE's made. That would not shock me if that was sort of what they're referring to here at all. That being said, the fact that, the people who actually matter in WWE, the wrestlers, that Dave Scherer talked to, loved it because they would love to do something like that themselves, is very telling. It's like, maybe that's why you should have people like Jason Jordan, for example, who's really recently promoted to like head of producers or whatever his title is, should be in that position. And I'm glad that they are, because maybe, you can get some changes with him, unless his philosophy is more in line with, these people.
More the sports entertainment philosophy is.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's whoever has said that is completely and totally silly, because, it did fantastic numbers. People loved it. And, maybe wrestling, maybe you should have a bit more variety. What do you think?
Yeah, 1,000%. You should have tons of variety.
Yeah,
that's what,
for sure.
That's what makes wrestling interesting, is you can have a comedy match and a technical match and something like this that's wild and violent, or and then have like a barbed wire exploding match. That's one of the great things about pro wrestling, is that you can pretty much tell any story in the ring you want to, in any fashion you really want to.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I know you and I were just, this time next year, we're going to probably have switched Going in Raw over to exclusively coverage of FMWE and AAA. We got to sign an exclusive with AAA, man. We got to be the official channel of AAA.
That would be fun.
Because they don't have, you can't watch any of their stuff right now.
Well, there's some legal stuff that's probably preventing that. I mean, from us striking such a deal, along with several other potential, we don't have any contacts over there. But from a legal standpoint.
Well, listen, my mom speaks Spanish. She'll talk to some people. Okay, she'll figure it out for us.
Before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show. Sunday, typically this time of year, I'll look out my window at my back lawn and see an absolute mess. Just huge brown spots and patches of various weeds.
Yeah, mine was a mess too, man. But then I said to myself, Steve, it's time to get serious about your lawn care, man. And this is why I've turned to Sunday. See, Sunday makes taking care of your lawn easier than ever. They take out all the guesswork and unwanted chemicals so you can grow a lush green lawn that's better for people, pets, and the planet.
All you got to do is go to getsunday.com, put in your home address, and their free lawn analysis tool creates a tailored nutrient plan based on soil and climate data. So you get all the stuff your lawn needs and nothing it doesn't.
Plus, Sunday explains exactly what you need and why you need it, which makes lawn care easy for people like me who struggle to keep their lawn looking green. All I had to do was attach the ready-to-use pouch to my hose and spray. Now, instead of taking all day to care for my lawn, I can get it done in less than 15 minutes.
So let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/GIR to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout.
That's $20 off your custom plan at getsunday.com/GIR.
All right. Well, let's talk more AEW because they had a pretty huge announcement today. They're beating WWE the punch, and they announced that they're hitting the road beginning early July. All Elite issued a press release, revealed the first 3 dates outside of Jacksonville's Daly's Place, where they've been shooting Dynamite for the most part, almost exclusively, apart from the handful of weeks where they're doing it at the Nightmare Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So July 7th will be in Miami. July 14th will be in the Austin, Texas metro area. And then the following week, July 21st, in the greater Dallas, Texas area. So this is only about 2 months out.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's interesting. I don't know if any of these, I assume these are all indoor venues. I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't look that up. I meant to. So, I guess they feel pretty confident going out and running shows in, oh, wait. This looks like an outdoor
James L. Knight Center's outdoors.
Oh, okay. So it'd be pretty interesting if they did them all in outdoor venues. Okay. That would be pretty smart of them.
Looks like it's outdoors.
If they found venues in the same vein as Daly's Place where they can put on wrestling shows and have it be outdoors, I think that'd be pretty smart.
I agree with that. I'm looking at the James L. Knight Center. What was the other one? There was
let me pull up the press release here.
Yeah,
there was the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. And I'll look up the one near Austin.
Let's see here. Curtis Colwell Center. This looks like it might be indoors.
This one in Austin looks indoors because this is definitely indoors.
Oh, so the venue in Dallas was it James L. Knight? Did I get that wrong? Was that in
James L. Knight was one in Miami.
That's in Miami. Okay. That could be, I don't know. Geez, I don't know. That could be indoors. I honestly can't tell. I think that's indoors.
The one in Houston or in Austin is definitely indoors.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, dude, I was reading up on, I know Dr. Fauci was doing the rounds on TV this past weekend.
Oh, that is indoors. Sorry. Yeah. The James L. Knight one.
The James L. Knight. Okay. That one picture looked like
it was.
It might have been the dark of night out there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I mean, he has said that, it's time, with the vaccines, making the rounds now with the president wanting, 70% of adults being vaccinated by July. This kind of thing is not shocking at all. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to start seeing more of. And I think,
well, I think the issue, kind of get off on a tangent a little bit is there's the vaccination rates, which, hopefully those will continue to increase, but it's also reading on more studies about how these vaccines, not only how these vaccines deal with the variants that are out there right now. So, there's still a lot of variables in play, but, hopefully all these venues are handling crowds, safely, whether it means still continued mask mandates. I guess that kind of depends. It's a fluid situation between now and middle of July. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see what happens afterwards with the WWE. I mean, I know Nick Khan, I was looking at this and I forgot, I thought there was, so his latest statement on that was, I think probably during the earnings call. Let's see here. Oh, so this was an interview with Variety. This is an article from, about a month ago, because they were talking about, WrestleMania. And then do you guys have any plans for additional, being on the road in front of fans? And he says, any plans? Yes. Any plans we can share? Stay tuned. But just know that once we're back on the road, we're on the road full time. We're not looking to do other one-offs This was WrestleMania. We felt it needed to be done for the fans, so look for news coming soon. I forget that because I know wasn't the earnings call since then? Like, didn't they have a?
I thought so. Yeah, one after Mania. Well, let's get to this next story because that might kind of dovetail with what you're talking about. So
yeah,
Living the Gimmick's John Alba. And by the way, go subscribe to Living the Gimmick on Patreon. Another great resource for wrestling news and conversation. John Alba has broken a lot of stories on Twitter and then through Living the Gimmick. Anyways, John Alba has a scoop on where SummerSlam could call home, and it's Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Alba is reporting that, quote, one of the primary venues being considered is Las Vegas, with Allegiant Field, home of the Raiders, being one of the contenders to host the event in that city. Alba did note that while Vegas is apparently the front runner in WWE's eyes to host the greatest show of the summer, I think that's what they call it, SummerSlam, other cities are still under consideration.
The biggest party of the summer?
That's what it is.
You just
I was just here
rebranded it,
typing
man.
notes
Good
like
job.
10 minutes before we were starting.
Larson booked SummerSlam. Greatest show of the summer.
So. Greatest show of the summer.
Enough of this party stuff. We can't party anymore.
Yeah, so another SummerSlam news. WrestleVotes tweeted out on Friday that, quote, WWE is looking to have SummerSlam be the official kickoff as to a return to touring. With that said, if things work out a certain way, this is interesting. The pay-per-view might be even earlier than usual this year. I've heard 3 to 4 locations are on the table, with one having better odds than the other. End of April. WrestleVotes says something about SummerSlam being at various venues. One of them, a hot location. I was like, Vegas is it. They got the new football stadium there. It's going to be Vegas.
It's hot. And it's hot.
And it's very hot.
You got that one right, man. High five right here. There we go. We're not with each other. So, yeah, are we going to go to this? Barstow? We'll hit up Barstow on the way. That sounds rad. I don't want to do SummerSlam. I just want to do Slammiversary. But yeah, so if it's going to be sooner than later, usually it's towards the end of August.
Yeah, mid-late August, yeah.
Mid to late August. Let's say they do it early August. So that's, not too far away from when AEW is going to be going on the road as well. And yeah, that's cool. Sounds right. Sounds in line with everything.
I wonder now, too, with AEW saying, hey, we're going on the road now. If WWE's like, we can't be left behind. We gotta push forward a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel
I would hope
like
not. I would hope their reasoning for going on the road is because they think it's a safe and right thing to do at the time they want to do it, and not feel like they have their hand forced because someone beat them to the punch.
I don't think that's at all. I think that, dude, I don't think that WWE cares about, number one, I don't really think they care about what's safe. I think they care about what public perception is and what they can do to sort of stay in line with, what the CDC is saying. I mean, that's what it sort of boils down to. It's like when Dr. Fauci's out there saying, yeah, we're probably going to be, things like indoor, like he was talking about lifting indoor mask mandates.
Yeah, no, I read that too. I read that too.
And it's like once that kind of stuff happens, like businesses are going to be like, okay, cool. So that's what we're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, could there be bumps in the road? It's possible, but dude, the economy's going to take off. Like you can't stop this anymore. It's happening. And businesses are going to start picking up, and I think live events are going to explode. And yeah, I think this is, it's cool. So it is what it is. Slammiversary, baby.
I'd be much more inclined to hop in the car and drive somewhere than hop a plane still at this point.
I've never liked flying. There was a period of time in my 20s when I've been okay with flying. Like generally when I'm up in the air, I'm like okay with it, but I hate taking off. I hate it.
Interesting.
I always have that scene in Fight Club in my head when or Lost. I don't like the lack of control. I'd rather be the pilot.
Well, you got quite a bit of training to do then if that's what.
But in terms of the COVID thing, I mean, I know you and I are a bit different. I don't mind getting on a plane. I'd wear a mask on a plane.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, again, I just go by the science. They have improved the filtration devices in the planes, and planes are not a source of people contracting the virus. That's
so long
fact.
as people are masking up. People just drop the mask, and that could change. I don't know. Maybe potentially. I don't know.
I mean, all I know is from what I've read, and the air filtration on planes is exceedingly good, and there has not been reported cases of it. So that's my stance on it. But yeah, I'll go on the road. You want to go to the road to Slammiversary? I'm down for that.
No, I want to drive.
Is that what you're saying right now?
No,
is that what you're saying?
Far. That's what 32-hour drive. I don't want to do that.
It's a long drive. It's really
I don't want to do that. That's like pretty much 3 days of drive.
I don't think I want to do that.
No,
Unless we got like a cool van, like a VW bus.
An
That'd be
RV.
cool. Yeah, like a fat RV, like an Orton bus.
Yeah.
I'd do that shit. Can we like crowdfund that or something?
Enforcer says, Larson, I'm on a plane 5 times since the pandemic. You got
that dude is a traveling man.
He is.
He is a traveling man.
I'm naturally, just my natural personality is risk adverse. And even if there's a semblance of risk, I'm like, yeah, I'll wait a little bit. That's just kind of my attitude. That's just how I am.
Yeah. Let's talk about speaking of COVID, New Japan seemingly has been hit with it. Last Wednesday, New Japan announced that 2 wrestlers had tested positive for COVID. Over the weekend now, New Japan also announced that 7 additional wrestlers had tested positive for the virus and noted that, quote, all those who tested positive are experiencing mild symptoms or are asymptomatic. According to protocols and under medical advice, all are isolating and receiving appropriate treatment. Of course, we had mentioned on Friday, I believe, that Wrestling Dontaku was delayed, was postponed. Grand Slam. Dontaku already happened. Grand Slam
Slam was postponed. Yeah,
postponed.
It's supposed to happen towards the end of this month. Before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Raycon. Hey, Steve. Summer is nearly upon us. It's time to break out the tank tops and time to hit the lake to catch some of those warm summer rays.
Yeah, man. Whether we're hitting the road to cover a wrestling show or just out getting our morning wind sprints in, whenever I'm on the move and still want to keep up with the freshest jams or stay up to date on my podcast, I bring my Raycons with me.
Yeah, with Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium brands. Plus, they look great and feel even better. Raycons come in a wide variety of colors and with customizable gel tips for a super comfortable in-ear fit. Whether you're hitting the gym or going to work, Raycons are built to go wherever you go.
Yeah, man, they're perfect for my morning wind sprint, so listen up. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for Going In Raw listeners, and here's what you got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/raw. There, you'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order, and it's such a good deal, you'll want to grab a pair and a spare.
That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/raw. buyraycon.com/raw.
I need to get a spare because Lacey took them. That's legit. She took my Raycons. So that's why I don't have them in. I know this is like sort of the definition of non-news, but it's still a little interesting peek behind the scenes at WWE and their video game company. Also, 2K, I think, released a video today where they're going to bring back developer diaries. Remember those? We used to mine those back in the Machinima days for B-roll.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's
developer
a new game
diaries
coming out.
Great.
Let's see what footage we get from these things.
Well, let's talk about old games. Was this Mike Chioda? Mike Chioda talking with Wrestle Talk. Have this up. He was asked about. I guess he was removed from one of the previous games. And this is what he had to say, quote, "It was amazing for me to see Aubrey Edwards. She had shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. We were never allowed to do that. I mean, we weren't allowed to make any extra money. We weren't allowed to be on the video games for WWE. I was in one for a short time on SmackDown until I asked if it was okay to get compensated because a lot of the guys were getting $40,000 checks every quarter or $80,000 checks every 3 months. And then the Christmas one would be huge after that. I started asking about how it came. Can you be here a certain amount of time to get it? A wrestler would come in 6 months or a year, they're on the video game, and they wouldn't do anything with the referees. As soon as I had asked and started talking about it, I got taken out. Then they paid someone in the office to do it for like $2 or $3 grand to be in the video game. It wasn't even a referee. He was just a guy in the office. They used his likeness and paid him one time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wish I'd like to. So our friend Louis Dangour did this interview with Chioda. I definitely want to check it out because I want to see, like, it sort of gives some sort of glimpse into how Vince feels about referees in general. Like they're just supposed to be sort of faceless, not part of the program. Certainly AEW to a degree, and I think they've actually dialed back quite a bit. I think to the benefit of the show. The referees used to be a bit more part of things in AEW, and they've dialed that back. And I think they found a really good balance between, the referees all having their own personalities and not sort of being too much into the match. or too much a part of the match, because I do feel like they went a little overboard back
at
times,
when
they started out.
Yeah. But it's cool that they let the individual refs have their individual personalities.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that WWE should be doing the same thing. I mean, whenever we see Lil Nate, we're like, hey, it's Lil Nate. I loved Chioda. I thought, or Chioda, whatever. I thought he was great. It's sad that WWE wouldn't consider doing this for the refs, because I don't know, as a fan of the series, again, that's one of those things that adds personality whenever you're playing one of these video games. Like, oh, look, it's Lil Nate, or oh, it's Chioda, or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, it's John Cone. That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a situation. I don't know if referees in WWE are employees versus independent contractors, what the language in their contract is. I just don't know, which would dictate whether, I imagine these checks that superstars are getting royalties from game sales for their likeness. And I don't know if in these referee contracts, if it says something along those lines or not. Don't know.
I would assume if that was the case, Chioda probably would have said, yeah, contractually we're not able to.
Yeah.
I know they used to have real referees in their games, so I don't know why they wouldn't.
But here's the thing: like if he went and asked about it, and it was a deal where it was like, well, your contract precludes it, then like tell that to him,
Mm-hmm.
Still take. Well,
I would assume that would only be like a union issue. It's like, well, but they're not in unions, the wrestlers. We all know that. So yeah, that's kind of balls. But anyways, we got a Raw tonight. Aren't you excited? You excited about Raw tonight?
I mean, it's happening, so I have to watch it.
That's not the question. We know it's happening.
That's the best answer I can give you. That's the best answer I can give you.
It's happening, and you're going to watch it. And then we're going to recap it here on the Twitch. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll be awesome. Let's find out. Maybe let's read this preview and find out.
It's the go-home show for Backlash. Did you remember Backlash was this weekend?
Yeah, I know that. First up, WWE Champion Bob Lashley to collide with Drew McIntyre 6 days before WrestleMania Backlash Triple Threat.
Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke to battle Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler.
Rawgate. They're going to go through Rawgate. Shayna Brooke.
Why is the same thing on here twice? What did I do wrong there?
Let's see here. Oh, and Forrester says, Larson, do you want... Wait, I know Alex, Queen of the Ring, was in here earlier. Do you want to ask if she can take over for you? Alex, Larson needs a tag in.
When?
He needs the hot tag. Tonight for Raw.
No, I don't.
Well, you're sort of acting that way. I'm very positive about tonight. I think it's going to be a banger episode, and WWE can prove me wrong.
So here's my attitude: is set the bar low. It's hard to be disappointed. The last segment announced for Raw: New Day team up with RK Bro against AJ Styles, Amos, Jackson Riker, and Elias.
Yeah. I mean, the longest match of last week was
8 minutes.
Wow, very good. So it was actually 11 and a half, but there was 3.5 minutes of commercials. So the longest
TV time, about 8 minutes. Huh?
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was the New Day Amos AJ Styles match, which really
the opening match
shouldn't have been the longest match on the card.
Yeah, no,
right.
And it was a match to open the show.
Mm-hmm.
You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, let's answer some questions. The hot tag, we cannot use that for the quiz show because Izzy uses that for like her show on, I think she just has it on Twitter. Maybe she has a YouTube, but that's already taken by somebody, so we're not going to do it. I want the name Trivia in it, so we're working on a trivia show.
Turmoil.
Yeah, Trivia Turmoil.
Patrick Sparks,
yeah, but it means something better than that.
What's the worst year of each major promotion in wrestling? So what's the worst year of WWE?
The worst year of WWE, isn't it like probably 90? Well, traditionally it's like 95, I think. Isn't it like 95?
Yeah. 94, 95,
probably
something
95,
like that.
Yeah.
Impact. That'd be some of the tail ends of Dixie Carter's administration there, huh?
Impact?
Oh, it's the Hogan years. Hogan years got to be the low period.
Yeah, probably because they did some really weird booking stuff, like with Bobby Roode back then. Yeah, those were probably not the best years. So like 2012 or whatever.
B-Man asked about Ring of Honor. I don't really know.
Okay, so what would you rather watch? An entire run of Raws from 1995 or an entire run of Raws from 2020?
Well, I'd rather watch the entire runs of Raw from 95 because they're an hour long.
Yeah. And they're probably fascinating from how bad this is probably so bad it's entertaining standpoint.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe 2020 is their worst year. Just last year was WWE's worst year.
Because it's three times as long. Three times
as long. Yeah.
Mediocre content you have to sit through.
Mm-hmm.
Raw Observer. As we found out during the Monday Night Wars, competition brought out the best in both companies. The birth of AEW has certainly benefited the business as a whole.
Oh, wait a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Patrick's question was not all the way answered. What was Ring of Honor's worst year? What year are we in now?
2021.
2020? I don't know. New Japan. I have no idea about New Japan's worst year.
My understanding is they had some pretty slim years prior to Tanahashi. Yeah. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
It's like business wasn't great.
What's been AEW's worst year? Given that they've been in existence for
a year and a half. Well, I guess you have to say 2019 because they were only in business 2 months of that year.
That's a good point. They didn't run 10 months that year. That's terrible.
How can you survive as a business when you don't run shows for 10 months? Raw Observer, as we found out during the Monday Night Wars, competition brought out the best of both companies. The birth of AEW certainly benefited the business as a whole. More money for talent, more places to work, etc. But has the existence of AEW made WWE better, generally speaking? No, because I don't think apart from maybe when NXT was opposite AEW, I don't think WWE has done really anything apart from signing wrestlers to counter whatever AEW is doing. We certainly haven't seen that in the creative front, especially on Raw. Like even before AEW, there were stretches where SmackDown was pretty solid. But I don't really necessarily feel like I could say for sure that WWE has done anything, the existence of AEW has necessarily done anything to make WWE a better product to ingest on a regular basis.
Definitely not main roster. There has been zero difference. Like SmackDown is clearly they're far and away their best main roster show, and SmackDown sometimes can be their best actual show altogether. Like NXT is really good, but SmackDown can be pretty damn good. I think that has nothing to do with AEW. I think that like Paul Heyman came in, they decided. I think COVID had more to do with that because Roman had to go, and they were like, okay, we're going to bring him back. How are we going to do this? And they had the heel thing. NXT is a different story. I don't know. I think NXT was really good back before AEW. I think NXT
got a little bit worse running opposite of AEW. And that can't all be tied to necessarily running head-to-head with AEW. I know there was some turnover. There were some call-ups, and they kind of seemed like they hit a bit of a creative lull for a period. But now they're back on Tuesday nights doing their own thing, not have to worry about maybe even subconsciously programming against AEW. They seem to be hitting their stride again.
I don't know. NXT has done some cool things that might have been in response to that. It might have been sort of sparked because they had competition. Like they're bringing back, according to Fightful Select, go check them out. They're bringing back In Your House for another year. And coming up in June. They did that last year. That was a lot of fun. They had stuff like, I don't know. I thought it was cool. Like when Kevin Owens showed up, that might have been to counter program AEW. I thought that was pretty cool. They did some things that I thought like, okay, they're trying to step up and be a bit more promote-y, that might have been cool, but I don't know. I kind of take Triple H for his word to a degree that creatively speaking, they just sort of maintain their course. Given a second hour has sort of had some pros and some cons. So I don't know. I don't think that generally speaking, WWE has gotten better because of AEW. I don't think that's been the case.
They're just doing their thing.
I don't think Vince would know what to do if it was like, hey, you need to step up your creative game. I don't think he would know. He's doing what he can. He's doing what he knows to do.
He's doing what he probably thinks is what he should be doing.
Yeah. All right. Before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Manscaped. Hey, Larson, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time when you were trying to clean up, that thicket of yours down there and shaved like a little too close?
Yeah, Steven, it's a nightmare. Ugh. It's hard to put into words the the horror when you're down there trying to groom your front area and accidentally clip off a little bit of ball skin. Hey, but we're here to tell you the days of having to worry about nicks and cuts on your undercarriage are over, thanks to Manscaped.
Oh, thank God. Manscaped just launched their Lawnmower 4.0, and I have been blown away by its performance. Manscaped has truly engineered the ultimate groin and body hair trimmer with Lawnmower 4.0, thanks to its cutting-edge ceramic blade, which reduces grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. I now feel like I can trim my boys without fear.
Lawnmower 4.0 also includes a multi-function on-off switch with travel lock, a 4000K LED spotlight so you can see exactly where and what you're trimming, wireless charging, and it allows you to customize your trim with additional guard lengths with sizes ranging from 1 to 4. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Believe us when we say that your balls will thank you.
Yeah, get 20% off and free shipping with the code RAW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code RAW. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Nick, when WWE goes back to touring, do you see Raw getting better or worse with a live crowd? Also, follow-up question, should NXT consider your touring as well? I mean, the only thing that's going to make Raw better or worse is the creative. If the crowd's sitting in front of bad creative, they're going to let, like after the honeymoon period, after like 2 or 3 weeks of like, yay, we're back at live wrestling. If they have to sit through 3 hours of crap Raw, they're going to let WWE know that, hey, we're having to sit through 3 hours of crap Raw and we're not happy about it.
Sometimes I get the feeling. Sometimes I get the feeling that Vince or whoever, I don't know, is just sort of waiting out this period until crowds get back to like, I don't know. I think that maybe it's possible. Number one, you're completely right in that crowds are not going to. There were crappy Raws when there were crowds that you could not sit through. That you'd be like sitting there and like, oh my, this is terrible. So crowds in and of itself. Now, maybe the return of crowds might inspire creative to bring a better game for that honeymoon period of time. But if they settle back into old routines, that honeymoon is going to be very short and it's going to go back to being insufferably bad.
Great question from Juan Guerrero Jr., Mr. Triple Mania. If you only had one trip to Japan, would you choose to go see a New Japan show or FMWE show? No question, FMWE.
No question, FMWE. It's that. It's a Choco Pro. And then it's like, and I wouldn't do Wrestle Kingdom. I'd do like one of the smaller shows with the bleachers.
Oh, at Kirkin Hall? Yeah.
Kirkin, or even a smaller place. Yeah.
Kirkin Hall's great. That's got to be like one of the top 10, historically speaking, wrestling venues of all time, easily. So many shows have happened there.
Oh,
across,
DDT, yeah,
across
DDT show
across various promotions.
Cool.
It's pretty incredible. Lord Ziffer, let's say Brand versus Brand is off the table for Survivor Series this year. Given the current storylines going on right now, book a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match to main event the show for either Raw or SmackDown. Well, you have Roman, you have Jimmy and Jay.
Yep.
He recruits 2 other people. Apollo Crews, yeah, Apollo, and Commander Aziz. There's one team.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, though. Makes sense.
And then let's say whoever Roman happens to be feuding with at the time. I mean, I for the sake of argument, let's say it's. I mean, it won't be Cesaro by November. Let's say it's Seth Rollins. It's talking about do a heel versus heel thing. Let's say it's Seth Rollins. Who could Seth possibly? I mean, 'cause that could be a fun story where Seth having to recruit for the people to take on Roman. Like, could Seth recruit Kevin Owens, given his history with Roman Reigns?
Seth, Sammy, a reluctant Kevin Owens, and then
a reluctant Cesaro.
I think Cesaro would be too reluctant to do that.
That Roman could stack all 5 of them and pit them all at once.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to think of their like maybe I want like the Dirty Dogs. Yeah, just stack them all. Just stack them all. That's a stackable. And like, yeah, Roman's teammates don't even get in. It's just Roman. He just battles all five. He eliminates them all in one stack. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It's the first stacked elimination.
Jason Lewis, the Dark Side of the Ring producers, reach out to you guys for a topic for them to cover for an episode to air on April Fool's Day.
Oh, good.
Power rank the wholesome content you like to see passed off as gritty. Some examples Jason has here is Choco Pro Heavy Metalweight Championship, so on.
It'd be like the Weird Al behind the music. How like Weird Al, nothing bad ever happened to him, and like because there's always the turn. There's like I don't know why I remember this, but I was laughing so hard because they were going to commercial. He was like, and then my last album, it only went gold, not platinum. Yeah. Let's see. It would be like it'd be Luger versus Yokozuna. I try to make that into something that was like you know, and then he body slammed him, and you have like out of focus body slamming happening, and then but he didn't win the title. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. They don't do that, but it's Jericho.
They don't do that voice. It's just Jericho. And they carried Luger on their shoulders like he actually won something.
Yeah, but little did he know he didn't win.
He didn't win anything.
I would just have him recreate Kevin Nash's Mabel story. That's what I would do.
Interesting.
No, I'd have him recreate Kevin Nash, Undertaker, and Bret Hart going over a match. It's not about you.
It would be WrestleMania 13. Did Sid shit his pants?
You think they can get 47 minutes out of that?
Sure.
Well, that's a good one. The Dark Side, like pooping your pants, and it would the highest profile pooping a pants moments. It'd be out of focus poop on the mat.
CM Punk with his out of focus turd in the ring that the ref had to grab and
that was so gnarly. There was legit poop on camera. You went like this.
Yep.
Ugh. Oh, that's a good one. Undertaker versus Hogan. You got me, brother.
Oh yeah. Eric Kalunga, do you think the guys from Dark Side of the Ring should look for stories in places like AAA and CMLL? And who would you like to see? Absolutely. And you know, I think at some juncture, I would not be surprised if that were to happen. I don't have any inside information, obviously. I'm just thinking they seem to cast a pretty wide net.
They should do a Dark Side on MLW when Conan got stabbed by like Loki or whatever that was. They stabbed a dude. Do a Dark Side on when John Cena got stabbed by a dude in the club.
Oh, there you go.
Jesus. Right? Yeah, it was
Jesus.
Jesus. He was a SoCal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Those are all good answers. Dark Side. Zondo says the Dark Side. Vince McMahon eating snow cones.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good one.
Do an episode on that bad cow that Vince ate that one time.
Yeah, Marvell says, isn't there a AAA luchador that was a hitman for the cartel? I have no idea. I'm not even going down that path. Wasn't there like a car that was like vandalized or something relatively recently, like a couple of years ago? I remember reading the news, like back when I read the newsletter on like a weekly basis, I would always go to AAA section, and it was just the nuttiest shit was going down. And it was all like real stuff too. Yeah, they went they went outside and in his car, you know. Like the car was, you know, they took out the window.
I feel like they could do an episode on whatever the heck's going on with AAA now, where we can't watch their stuff in the States anymore.
I know, right?
It's weird lawsuit stuff. I read up about it. I'm not sure I completely understand it, so I'm not going to try to explain it here. But it's crazy.
Night by Night says, Karrion Kross was a real life hitman. Remember? Who said that? Somebody said that.
It was Hugo.
Hugo said that. Yeah, just do a Dark Side on Hugo stories. That dude's kayfabe and everything.
Seemingly.
He said he was a real hitman.
Gareth, which wrestling commentator will come out with their own food product line a la JR's barbecue sauce? Extra points for the brand name and signature product.
What, the next wrestling commentator guy?
To have a food product like JR's barbecue sauce.
Like if Excalibur had like a cheese sauce or something, like some nacho cheese sauce.
Yeah.
Taz. It'd be Taz's nacho, just, spicy nacho cheese something or other. because he's orange. Like it's like super bright orange.
Oh, all right. You could do like a Flamin' Hot Cheetos thing.
Nacho technique. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, nacho technique's not bad.
What was this thing? The human nacho machine.
There you go. Turn yourself into the human nacho machine or machine.
the human nacho machines. That's awful. Oh, that's good.
Bad.
Curious Corduroy says Pat McAfee's mac and cheese.
That's good.
Pat McAfee's mac and cheese.
That's good. That's good.
Pat mac and cheese.
Pat McAfee's mac and cheese.
Yeah, Pat McAfee's mac and cheese. Oh, that's good. That's great.
Also, question from Wolverine: should there be more wrestlers in WWE's creative to give them fresh storylines? Yes.
Should there be more what?
Wrestlers in WWE's creative? Yes.
I don't know. Maybe they suck too. I don't know. I think the bottom line is I think you got plenty of good writers. You got this bottleneck at the top. You got Vince McMahon.
That's what I'm thinking though. If you have some wrestlers, especially, I mean, obviously it would be the higher profile wrestlers who, in theory, could have more sway over on what Vince. You know, like if Randy Orton goes into Vince's office and tries to explain his point of view from a creative standpoint, he'll probably have better luck getting what he wants out of that meeting than a lot of other guys. You know what I mean?
I feel like the high profile guys probably do have some amount of sway with their
things.
It
could be. It could be. But I mean,
I feel like that's the case.
You know, for using the Randy Orton example, if he had an idea, or if he had a conversation with Sheamus and they came up with an idea, and then, you know, they went and talked to Vince or whomever, or they had an idea for somebody else to get in a feud with somebody, leading to something with them. Like, you know, I feel like the high profile guys, if they had some interesting creative ideas, I think Vince would listen. And I think he'd probably consider their point of view, perhaps even more than members of his own creative writing staff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that AEW has proven that wrestlers in charge of their own creative is kind of a hit or miss affair. And, you know, it's like you get stuff like, you know, arcade game matches and stuff like that. Or you have terrific wrestlers like TH2 who are like, yeah, we're not writers, we're wrestlers, so we're not on TV all that much. I think there's plenty of hits because I think AEW does some really cool stuff. So I think it's hit or miss. I don't know. Like, I think that, like, I think the bottom line is you've got a lot of really good writers in WWE whose stuff could probably work if Vince McMahon didn't come in at the last minute on Raw and rip it up and start over again. You had Jimmy Jacobs there who came up with, like, who was working with Jericho and Kevin Owens on the Festival of Friendship stuff, and it really worked.
Jimmy Jacobs, a wrestler.
Well, yeah, I know, but dude, he was a writer for a long time. I'm saying, like,
yeah,
you know, not every wrestler is like.
I don't disagree with that. My point is, if you get some creatively minded wrestlers in the writing room, it could benefit the product overall. Because I'm sure there's writers in WWE Creative who are wrestling fans who know wrestling. There might be some, historically speaking, who also may not know it to the same breadth and width as wrestlers would.
I know, but what I'm just saying is it's kind of like, I don't know, like, does a guy like Sheamus want to write? Like, if he does he want to be in the room doing that stuff?
I don't think Vince gets on the phone and calls Sheamus and goes, "Hey, you're hired to be a writer." No, I think they would have to, like Daniel Bryan. I'm sure he went to somebody, or you know, he went to somebody's like, "Hey, I have some ideas for something. Here, come to creative. Let's talk about it." And from there, it went somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, that particular wrestler would have to show some interest in exploring the creative side of things. Obviously,
I just don't look. My thing is, like, I don't know that, like, Randy Orton and Vince McMahon and Sheamus would all gather in a room. I just don't know that, like, that's a process. I don't know. I just think that they have plenty of good writers there that have done a lot of cool stuff, and like I feel like it's more a matter of, like, this is what we've heard. Like, if you pay attention to Dave Schilling's Twitter account. Mm-hmm. Like, and he was only there for like a really short period of time. Mm-hmm. And the feeling I get is there's plenty of writers there doing really good work. I don't think that, like, just 100%. Because they're wrestlers, that I don't think that's the solution. I just don't think that's the solution. I don't think it's
the solution, but I think if you get wrestlers who are experienced telling wrestling stories to be a part of the creative team, I don't think that's going to hurt. Not to say you have to make it exclusively your writing team is all wrestler. I think if you get a couple wrestlers in there along with the writing staff they have, I don't think that's going to hurt the creative process.
But I think they kind of have that already. I think they kind of have that already. I mean, we do know that. We know like producers who have a hand in creative. Like,
well, I think that's more just on a match-to-match basis. I mean, from overall
come on, dude.
year-long storytelling stuff. We know that Daniel Bryan
stuff.
We know that Daniel Bryan was involved for a bit, but then not too long before WrestleMania, he was like, "Yeah, I kind of stepped back from the creative aspect of things."
Yeah,
we had heard that Edge has been involved, but that's just secondhand. We never heard anything from him about, as far as I know.
I like, we've all read that it seems like it's a fairly collaborative thing between writers and wrestlers, and then it all just goes up to Vince. And obviously, it's like, yeah, this is where this belongs in the toilet. So I don't know. I think
it can't hurt.
I think the problem, but I think they have that, and I think the problem isn't that. I think the problem is Vince McMahon's up there ripping up scripts. I just feel like that's the case. Like, they have wrestlers there. They have input on creative.
Blake, if Roman and his faction went to Raw with no other changes, could that save the show? No. And there's probably a better chance that Roman and his faction would get like kind of lame, as opposed to them saving the show.
If he took Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman had the same level of creative input that we believe he has, then I think that would, yes, improve Raw.
Jacob, you suddenly wake up in the body of Vince McMahon, decide to roll with it. You wake up the next day as Vince again, but oddly the events are the same as the day before. Eventually you realize this is a Groundhog Day scenario. How do you, as Vince, break the cycle? Maybe you got to break the cycle by stepping down as head of WWE.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Like, you find out, like, in this particular story, like, you try to fix WWE as Vince and it doesn't work, and so you wake up the next day and Raw still sucks. You try to fix Raw. It's a Monday, so you go and you try to fix Raw and you're like, oh my god, this is really hard. So then you just, on the last day, the last time, you're like, screw it. You draft your letter of resignation. It's ironclad.
It takes that to realize that maybe the problem is Vince and nothing else.
Problem is Vince. The problem is Vince, man.
Greg Morris, if Dark Side of the Ring wasn't kayfabe, what stories would you like to see?
The Vince limo explosion thing. We've heard about that one, haven't we? Like, what that was supposed to. Weren't they supposed to bring in his brother?
Yeah.
They're supposed to bring in like Rodney or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
They're going overboard. It's funny, our chat. We just had like a discussion about like, the writing room and wrestlers and stuff. Meanwhile, chat is just going on with Aleister Black bean burritos.
That's interesting.
They're continuing on with like the food stuff.
Oh,
Montel Vontavious Porterhouse.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Street Profit tacos. Oh, that's good.
Hall of Famer Christian, should AEW stop with these huge finish attempts after two pretty high-profile duds, at least for a while they get better? I mean, I just think they should tell the stories they want to tell. And yeah, they're a reasonably new promotion. It's not even been in 2 years since they started doing regular TV. There's going to be some growing pains. The what happened at Blood and Guts last weekend with the fall off the cage, that could have been corrected with some better camera angles and better production.
You're not going to learn unless you try and fail. I believe not in wins and losses, Larson, but in wins and
learning.
Learns.
Dalen Dula, you're recently invited to host several episodes of popular daytime television game show Let's Make a Deal. To complete your hosting team, what pro wrestlers do you select to be your sidekick, your model, and in-studio musician? In-studio musician is Xavier Woods.
Yeah, that's good.
Sidekick Jey Uso.
Well, he is the right-hand man.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna go different. You choose yours, I'll choose mine. My in-studio musician. I can't get the image of Hulk Hogan with a guitar out of my head. I don't want it to be Hulk Hogan, but I can't think of anybody else who plays an instrument. Name somebody who plays an instrument, so I don't have to use Elias. Oh, great. Yeah, Elias is good. Elias would be good in that role. Elias.
So I'm going to have my model be Adam Cole, and here's why. Because every product, say it's a vacuum cleaner, you say, Dyson vacuum, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Every single
Oh,
product.
wow. Damn, that's a good one. That's a good one. Dyson vacuum, baby. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, man. I can't beat that answer. No matter what I say, I can't beat that answer.
All right, who's your sidekick? You want to stick with Jey Uso, or you want somebody else?
No, I need somebody else, but you just stole it with, you just took the cake there with Adam Cole. My sidekick? Wait, Let's Make a Deal. They don't have sidekicks on Let's Make a Deal. Is Let's Make a Deal the one with Drew Carey? No, it's a Price is Right. Which one's Let's Make a Deal?
Right. Let's Make a Deal is the one with Monty Hall back in the day, right?
I don't know.
Then yeah, it's one with Wayne Brady now.
Okay. But he didn't have a sidekick. But if I had to have a sidekick, yeah, Jey Uso's a really good answer. I'm gonna have it be Sheamus, and he has the U.S. title gimmick where he's like, how much is a refrigerator? But it's not on the line. None of the prizes are actually on the line. So it's like, what are we playing for, Sheamus? An arse kicking. What? Oh, Austin Theory is the sidekick. That's the answer.
Oh, that's
White
good.
Brownie had
That's
it.
good.
Austin Theory, that's the
good.
sidekick. That's great.
That's good.
And my model will be Dexter Loomis.
There you go.
He just stands still next to the product. Oh,
Stand
that's
still.
great.
Have Finn and just do the Finn freeze. That guy say WB and AEW try to expand their relationship, drafting 3 people from each company to go to the other company for 1 year only. Steve, you be WWE, and Larson, you be AEW. So let's work out a deal where I bring 3 WWE talents to AEW, and you get 3 AEW talents going to WWE.
Okay. All right.
Let's do someone from each division. So 1 man, 1 woman, 1 tag team.
Okay. I'm gonna have. Wait, can I just draft Kenny Omega?
Well, I feel like this would have to be something that worked out equitable, like for all companies. Like you couldn't draft the AEW champion because an AEW without a champion.
Okay, fair enough. I would like to draft. I mean, it's got to be one of the members of the Elite. I mean, okay. Are there any WWE? How about this? Fair deal. This is a fair deal. I offer up. You give me the Young Bucks. In return, I give you.
Champs.
Listen, please hear me out. I give you my champs, the Dirty Dogs. Fair deal.
No.
How is that not a fair deal?
No. I mean, no one tunes into SmackDown to
AJ
watch
Styles
the Dirty
and
Dogs.
Amos for the Young Bucks.
The champions. No, here, just think of non-champions that you that from AEW that you would bring into WWE and it'd be interesting.
AEW. I mean, then it'd be MJF. MJF's like the highest profile guy that AEW has otherwise.
All right.
It'd be MJF for no. You overrate him. It's MJF for Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that's who I have.
That's the idea. That's a good trade.
Asuka.
Asuka's good.
I'm trying to think of a tag team in WWE that.
I'd offer up Thunder Rosa for Asuka.
All right.
I think that's comparable.
And then, say New Day.
Oh, I'll take the Lucha Bros.
Okay. Everybody wins there.
Yeah, everybody wins. That's good.
Everybody wins.
Good. Yeah.
Finally get that Seth versus Kenny Dream match. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
Good deal. Justin asked, thoughts on themes being made with angelic type voices as a prelude to the actual song. The only ones I truly like it for are the Gargano, The Way, and Seth's Messiah theme. Bailey's is meh, and while Roman's is a vast improvement, doesn't need that prelude in my opinion.
Can't stand any of it.
I think it works with Roman's because it's the gravitas necessary for his character.
I can't stand it because any theme should be able to work with a run-in situation. And if they're unless they did, I don't think the intro. Every theme should be when Stone Cold Steve Austin was sitting in the. I'll catch shit for this, but Bret Hart's theme, I didn't really think was all that. Like these days, if somebody whipped up that Bret Hart theme, we'd be like, oh, it's generic entrance number 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get shit for that. People in the comments are going to be like, oh, no, it's iconic and stuff like that. Look, Bret Hart was a big star. He's a bigger star than Dusty Rhodes. But that theme music, I just don't think is very iconic. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up with it. Fine. But when Stone Cold Steve Austin was in that ring and he hears the and he goes, he does that. Every theme music should have that level of intensity starting off. And none of those intros have that. When you hear, every time I hear Seth, I think, Bailey's coming out to confront Roman? That's weird.
I know. Seth and Bailey sound too much alike, and that was a problem. I don't disagree with your point. However, I do appreciate variety, and if every theme started off with that sort of stinger, like Stone Cold's, like that's essentially what that guitar bend is in the beginning of Bret Hart's. It's a little stinger to kick off the song. And if everyone started the same way, there wouldn't be enough variety. So I don't mind.
It's not the same way, though. It's not the same way.
It's not, but it's the same general
philosophy.
idea.
It's the same philosophy. Sure.
So I don't mind Roman's because he's a heel. He's not going to be doing a bunch of high impact dramatic run-ins anyway. It takes him 10 minutes to the walk to the ring.
Yeah.
So for Roman's, it's got the gravitas. He's not a run-in type character anymore. So I think that one works all right. I mean, if you want to, analyze his theme in other respects and why it might not work, and have at it. But I think in terms of providing the gravitas of his character, how it fits his character, I'm fine with that one. Never really liked the Seth Messiah one. I know they tried to shoehorn something that fit his character more. Never really liked it.
Dude,
sounded too close to Bailey's theme.
Do you remember at being at 31 and that double bass kicked in?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was great.
That was great.
That was so cool.
The Ways theme, it's all right. I can hear it in my head, but I'm like, it's okay. Like for Roman, I think it really works for Roman because of his character. I think it really works for him.
Yeah, I agree with you in that he sort of, he meanders down mostly. Like everybody's on his time, so he's not going to have a sense of urgency because we're all on his time. I agree with that. And I do like, there is a sense of gravitas with him. I think that's sort of the exception that
Where's Seth? I mean, I know they had the chorus of voices. I didn't really feel like they were going for a different feel as opposed to gravitas, which is what all of Roman's theme is.
Yeah,
1,000%. But yeah, there was a huge problem when Seth's and Bailey's theme were kind of too similar, much too similar, much too similar.
Any more questions today?
I think that's all I got.
All right.
In fact, went off of it.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Hopefully you'll join us tonight for our Raw recap. Or it might just be me. Larson said he doesn't want to watch Raw tonight. I respect that decision.
I never actually said those words.
And
putting words in my mouth.
So again, me. Maybe I'll get Alex or Enforcers. I'll figure it out. Anyways, now he's going to be here. So anyways, that'll be tonight, right after Raw. Every week I want to start a little bit earlier. So last week we started at 8 o'clock. This week, 7:59, right before Raw goes off the air. Ideally, I want to get to the point where we start reviewing Raw at like 6:30 or so. So like an hour and a half, halfway into Raw, we start our review. Does that make sense?
All right, whatever.
Oh, you're in. Good. Okay, awesome.
Sure, whatever.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
You say this now, a week from now, you'll forget about it, so it's fine. I'll say fine now.
You're finally learning. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Oh, I've known that for a long time.
Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.